Schofield here. Welcome to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. I'm here with Kevin O'Sullivan. I know you've missed him. You've told us so in the comments of the political asylum with Kevin O'Sullivan. Kev, I'm going to ambush you with a breaking story, another PR charm attack from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Prince Harry makes shocking confession as he and Meghan appear in new show. The prince has revealed that Space Mountain is a favorite. In the trailer for a new show about Disneyland, Harry can be heard saying, "Space Mountain was one of my favorite things." Meghan replies, "It's still one of your favorite rides." Harry says, "Of course." Later in the trailer, which also features other famous names like Jamie Lee Curtis and Neil Patrick Harris, Harry says, "Prepare yourself. You're going to be blown away." This is an ABC News docu-series, and it's going to be released on Sunday. And it's just like celebrities sharing their favorite memories of Disneyland. Doesn't this feel like such a PR? Well, first of all, let's not forget that Meghan recently thanked Disneyland for the great trip for Lily's birthday. So now we know that that was just an influencer trip. Poor Lily's birthday was Meghan's one-way ticket into a free Disneyland trip. But doesn't this just reek of we're trying so hard to be known as this happy, loving family couple?
Yes, it does. It also reeks to me, suspiciously, of maybe this couple, now that the money's run out with Netflix, trying to switch to maybe the Disney Channel or ABC.
Hulu. Yeah, we call that Hulu. Yeah,
Hulu. A new source of income, potentially. They're definitely scoping things out, there's no doubt about that. As for Harry loving Space Mountain to this day, I'm not surprised. How many times have we talked about this guy's arrested development, his kind of almost perpetual childhood? He's got an immaturity that is quite striking. So to hear him waxing lyrical about fairground rides, my favourite is Space Mountain, does not surprise me at all.
Well, don't forget in July of 2019, Prince Harry live on a red carpet in front of the entire world, in front of Beyonce and Jay-Z, pitched Meghan's voiceover work to Disney's Bob Iger. So these two are shameless. Meghan has repeatedly compared herself to Disney princesses in interviews. She said she felt like Ariel when she didn't have a voice when she did the Oprah Winfrey interview. So they've been working this angle for a while now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, they are definitely having a charm offensive, particularly Harry. They're trying to turn it around in terms of media coverage, in terms of positivity in the newspapers, on television channels, on radio stations. They're trying to turn it around. Harry's attempts to do this, I mean, you know, he was here for 4 days in London last week, then went off to Ukraine. And his attempts to ingratiate himself. I call it his Love Me Do royal tour, pretend royal tour. It's not a royal tour. It's really weird. What we've got here, basically, is a private citizen going on tours, visiting charities, going out to see soldiers. Very, very odd. I think it's just
it's an unemployed dude who loves to smoke weed and surf.
Yeah,
That's the reality of what it's become.
Yeah, exactly right. What I find sort of shocking, that this guy, Harry, he has no bandwidth. He is an incredibly shallow individual. And I think I'm entitled to say this because he doesn't seem to understand that him running away from Britain, abrogating, turning his back on his royal duties, turning his back on the British people who loved him, turning his back on his own family, heading for America, and then spending 5-6 years hurling grenades across the Atlantic, calling all of us slave drivers, calling his father a racist, calling Catherine the Princess of Wales a racist, calling his father an uncaring, mean-spirited dad, calling Queen Camilla, or Camilla as she was then, the villain of the story. He seems to believe that in 4 days ago, oh, look, here's me at a charity, aren't I nice? That a few happy, snappy appearances at charities, grinning for the cameras, that all of his sins his many sins, his awful crimes over the past 5-6 years will be eradicated, evaporated, gone, forgiven and forgotten. Well, let me tell you, he's got another thing coming. And by the way, stories are beginning to emerge about his 54-minute meeting with his father last week that contradict what we were told. Oh, they were weeping, they were hugging each other, it was so joyous. Not at all, so I'm told. Not at all. It was a very different picture. Do you know, Kinsey, by the way, do you know, so Clarence House, Charles's very splendid London residence, just up the road from Buckingham Palace. Now, everybody who comes to visit the King or goes to Clarence House goes through this front door where there's a security check. I'm talking about senior politicians, the Prime Minister. I'm talking about charity chiefs, the kind of people who have audiences with the King. Everybody goes through that front door. Only the royal family have a special entrance at the back. So Charlie's, King Charles's relatives, his family, the royal family come in through a special VIP royal entrance at the back. Guess which entrance Harry came in through last Wednesday? It was the front. It was the security check. And here's another thing. Everybody said, oh, well, Camilla won't go to that meeting with the King because she hates Harry.
Actually, I heard
let
that
me tell you, she was there. She sat there
because the King needs a witness. The King
she
didn't
was there.
trust
Yeah, she was there. And I'm told from good sources that the atmosphere was not amiable. It was quite tense. Remember this, right? After 19 months, 54 minutes and a cup of tea with his dad. That's all. The meeting that the King had before that went on for well over an hour, and the meeting that he had after that also went on for well over an hour. But the meeting with his son, less than an hour. 54 minutes after 19 months. That tells you a story. So all this, oh, it's the beginning of the end of the feud, it's the reunion, tears, loving, oh, thank God. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I reckon Harry was in there trying to reopen the bank of dad.
Well, you've jumped a little ahead of the rundown.
I know I have, sorry.
So pump the brakes. When it comes to Harry and Meghan's PR pursuits, it's clear to me that I know Harry spent some time in the UK. I think it's less about impressing the people of the UK and more about Americans seeing his proximity to his father and that being financially beneficial to him. Yeah. And when I see them in this Disney special talking about how fun this theme park is, again, I feel like they're trying to attract a very specific audience. And that's just everyday Americans that might buy $9 jam. Who are these people? But what I thought was so interesting about the Disneyland, of course, is like this institution that is celebrated. It's an American institution that's incredibly celebrated and loved here. Like, I challenge you to find somebody that hates Disneyland. And so I think that this is a very strategic move on their part. But I found in all of these recent headlines about Disneyland from Fortune magazine, it's unaffordable for the average American family. Has Disneyland become a luxury experience? From Fox 11 in Los Angeles, Disney parks addicted to price hikes become more unaffordable. Newsweek, has Disney World become too expensive? New York Post, Disney theme parks addicted to price hikes as visits become unaffordable for the middle class. I think that this is just such a great reflection of Harry and Meghan dropping the ball. Like and it's NFL season, so I guess I can throw that one back into my vocabulary. But Harry and Meghan dropping the ball PR wise, I don't think that this makes them seem relatable. I think it makes them seem like, oh yeah, sure, I wish I could go to Disney. And Meghan thanking Disneyland for a great day on Instagram, that alludes to the fact that they got it for free $99. Are people going to resent seeing these two people glowing about how much they love a theme park that costs $7,000 plus for a family of 4, realistically?
Well, no, I think that Disney, talking about trying to repair relationships with the public, just as Harry and Meghan are trying to do that. So are Disney. Disney spent the last 5 years being so, astronomically woke that they alienated the people who always loved Disney. They've been making these movies that people don't like, and so Snow White. I mean, unbelievable. Snow not awfully white, no dwarfs, etc., etc. Ridiculous. That's the kind of nonsense, the kind of crap, if I can say that alienates the people and did alienate the people. To be fair to Disney, new management has realised that. Let's go back to basics. Now, interestingly, Harry and Meghan also are desperately trying to repair relations with the public. But the rift, I think, now is so wide that they're going to really, really struggle. And they've got to do more than just blatant PR stunts. So when Harry came to London last week, it was one long, blatant PR stunt. He gave this interview saying, yeah, all the press, all the media keeps saying I'm miserable. I am not. I'm happy with my life. I'm thrilled with my life. I'm loving life. Well, why do you always look so damn miserable then? Why are you always suing everyone in fury? Don't tell us one thing, and act in a different way. People can see through this guy. They can see through Meghan, obviously. So will their attempts to repair their relationship with the public through the prism of Disney and Disneyland work? I don't think so. But good luck to them. But they've got a long way to go. They've got to start acting. They've got to start not just pretending or performing for the cameras, delivering performative acts that make them look good, and start actually doing things that are good. And not necessarily, immediately phoning People magazine and US magazine and all that.
Us Weekly, which we're going to get to today. We're going to get to here in a second. You mentioned Queen Camilla, and I had Sally Bedell-Smith say Queen Camilla's in the room. The king needs a witness. There's no way that he's not.
Extraordinary. Think about that, Kinsey. Think about that. Yeah. That is extraordinary. That is Queen Camilla. Queen Camilla, after that book, in fact, even before that, doesn't in herself ever want to be in the same postcode as Harry. But she made a point, and all power to her, of being in that room and staring Harry out and saying, I see any of this in the press, any of this in People magazine, anything in Us Weekly, I know where it came from. So bear in mind, he also had to come through the security. They checked for wires and things like that. So he was treated like a suspicious character last week.
Yeah, she was there when he flew out to see his father right when he found out about the cancer too. So we do know that she's been very protective of him. The Times of London reporting that she will not forgive easily after his extremely unkind comments. A source from the palace told the Times of London, Harry's been extremely unkind to her in print and in word, and she doesn't forgive easily. The source added that while some members of the firm may be able to eventually look past the feud, few will be able to forget the little things. The royal family make elephants look like they have short memories, the insider said. That's why I love Prince William. I know that forgiveness is how we're supposed to function, but there's also the very difficult line that they have to straddle of protecting the future of the monarchy and the institution. And I think Queen Camilla's on board. I think it's not all about personal hurt feelings. I think she realizes that they are a liability. What's your take?
I think you're exactly right, and I think that the British public, they haven't forgiven Harry. They feel betrayed as well. As I say, this guy not only ran away from his family, he ran away from his people. He ran away from his father's subjects, or at the time his grandmother's subjects. So we feel betrayed. We certainly feel betrayed by the way he's bad-mouthed us ever since he's been in America. He hasn't only bad-mouthed his own family, he's bad-mouthed the people of Britain. And we don't forgive easily either. It's not, we can Everybody can forgive transgressions. Everybody can forgive people doing something wrong once, maybe even twice. It has been constant. Ever since they've been in the States, in California, they've been throwing grenades at us and the royal family on a 24/7 basis. So we're angry for ourselves, and we're also angry for the way he treated the king and Kate and the rest of the royal family. When William and Camilla say, look, we're not ready to forgive, the British people are with them all the way. I'll tell you what the British people don't like. They don't like the signs of this rapprochement between Harry and the King. But as I say, I don't think there is a rapprochement. I think that very brief meeting, tea for two at Clarence House, or tea for three, we now know, Camilla was there as well, that very brief meeting was not joyous. I'm told it was rather fractious, rather difficult, and I'm also told, unsurprisingly, Harry was after money.
Hey guys, Kinsey here, fresh off my trip from New York, and I want to take a minute to tell you about a brand I really love and kept me going throughout the hustle and the grind of travel peak. They're reimagining wellness with science-backed tea crystals and superfood blends made with the cleanest ingredients. Everything they create is designed to make daily rituals simple and effective, whether for gut health, radiant skin, steady energy, or just feeling your best. For me, hydration has always been tricky, especially when I travel. I drank plenty of water, tried different electrolytes, and even used the right skincare, but still had dry skin, brain fog, which I can't stand, and trouble sleeping. That did change with Peak's deep hydration protocol. In the morning, I take BT Fountain, the beauty electrolyte. It hydrates from within, smooths skin, and gives steady energy. At night, I wind down with RE Fountain, the calming electrolyte, which has this form of magnesium that melts tension and helps me sleep deeply without grogginess, which your girl needed after I landed at 1 a.m. this morning. So shortly after 1 a.m. this morning. So waking up without the grogginess, very appreciated. What I love most is how clean it is. No sugar, fillers, or artificial flavors, just ingredients like lemon juice and beetroot. Within a week, my skin looked more hydrated, my focus sharper. I just felt better. If you want to give it a try, I've got a special link in the show notes for you, 20% off for life, plus a free gift. With this link, peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Back to the show. Tell me what your reaction was to Prince Harry's Guardian article where he says he didn't air dirty laundry. He said that it was a difficult message. What, the Todger talk? But he did it in the best way possible. My conscience is clear, he said. He insists that speaking out wasn't a matter of stubbornness. It was having principles. It's not about revenge. It's about accountability. He said, you cannot have reconciliation before you have truth. And he claims that the book was just a series of corrections of stories that were already out there, which is a blatant lie because we didn't know about a physical fight between him and his brother. There are multiple instances that he mentioned that we had no clue about. And he said that these are just issues that needed to be corrected. What was your thought when you saw that?
I thought it was breathtaking, absolutely astonishing, shocking. What are you talking about, young man? Young man, he's 43 now, isn't he? Wasn't it his birthday yesterday? I missed you. I missed you. Yeah. Yeah, 41 is it? 41 going on 16. I missed you last night on my show, The Political Asylum.
No, you didn't. You had Angela Levin
yeah,
on.
Well, but we would have had great. I did miss you because I really wanted to talk to you about this, and I hope we do on Thursday. But let's talk about it now. This guy, right? As you say, oh, there were so many stories that needed to be corrected. Oh, was everyone talking about you losing your virginity in a field behind a country club? Was everybody talking about you freezing your, how can I put this, manhood and trying to unfreeze it while looking at a picture of your mother? These were brand new, rather sordid stories, to be honest with you. And he said, oh, this was about, the truth and about confronting reality and putting the past to rights. No, it wasn't. You put all these sordid little details in to sell the book. And when you think of all that, he revealed the fight with his brother. He revealed, he called his stepmother, Camilla, the villain of the story. Dad's mean-spirited. He won't give me any money. Kate's a racist. My dad's a racist, and so on and so forth. And then he says, he absolutely said that was not washing my dirty laundry in public. Well, Kinsey, can you tell me what the hell it was then? I mean, of course it was washing your dirty laundry in public. It was washing your dirty laundry in public, Harry, so you could make money. And that's why we on this side of the Atlantic in Britain do not forgive you, because you have been making a living out of trashing your family and of trashing us, the people of Britain. And if you think 4 days of smiling for the cameras at charity events and going to Ukraine are going to get rid of all of that, you've got another thing coming.
Yeah, it's at the expense of your family, at the expense of relationships that you can't, you can't recreate a brother you're so incredibly close to because you experienced, the horror of a divorce that was incredibly toxic, and then the death of your mom. You just can't recreate those relationships. And he had to have known, like, I'm going to lose my brother in this process. And if he didn't know he was going to lose his brother in that process, that he thought that Prince William was a lot weaker than it turns out he actually is. I love your reaction to the quote that he gives, leaning on Meghan's mantra that telling the truth is the most effective way to live, insisting she had told him to just stick to the truth. Who would be stupid enough to lie? Apparently these two.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Harry and Meghan who said that there was somebody that was racist within the British royal family. That's why Archie didn't get a title. That's why Archie didn't have the security that they'd prefer. And then Harry sat in front of his friend Tom Bradby and denied that anyone ever said that and tried to push that off on the British media. Meghan claims they were married. They were previously married, which the Archbishop had to come out and say, legally, I have to stress that that's not the case. I mean, there are so many.
In other words, they lied. They lied.
Yeah.
They lied. They lied and lied and lied. And when Meghan said to Harry, oh, you've got to tell the truth, this will be her essentially saying her favourite phrase, you've got to tell your truth, as opposed to the truth. He's not going to get away with this. He can't get away with just acting like that.
But he is, Kevin. Why did The Guardian not push back? Why did The Guardian, it was a total puff piece. Why does The Guardian not go, well, actually, here are 17 examples from the Oprah Winfrey interview where people have said you're not being truthful. Like, that's an interesting quote, Harry. Here are all the times we think you lied.
Yeah. I mean, saying that he says, my conscience is clear, to The Guardian. My conscience is clear. You're right, Kinsey. At that point, the Guardian journalist, reporter, should have said, what, your conscience is clear about calling your father a racist? Your conscience is clear about revealing all those private details about your family? Your conscience is clear about calling your father mean-spirited, uncaring, and so on and so forth? Your conscience is clear? Really? Could you explain why it's clear? He acts as if this book was a necessary act of atonement, that he had to confront reality and tell the truth. It put everything right. He wrote that book for one reason: cash. And that's basically the reason he's done everything since he went to America. Making money.
I think that he wrote it for cash. and for vengeance. Like he
Yeah.
specifically says about vengeance. I think if you go back and watch the Harry and Meghan Oprah Winfrey interview, those are two very bitter, very vengeful people, especially Meghan. She is seething. She is nasty. And that's why when you watch her now trying to teach us how to pack suitcases, um, like that YouTube video doesn't already exist, or TikTok. You're just like, who, Miss Smiley, you're just like, get out of here, because I think the closest we have gotten to the real her is the nastiness in that Oprah Winfrey interview. And like I don't think we look at the timeline enough and recognize that right before the Oprah Winfrey interview, as if this is what truly set them off, and they said, game on, bring the cameras over now, the family decides that they are going to go ahead. It was just a trial period. We
Yeah.
forget that Meg's was just a trial period, and that the Queen was going to allow them, was going to see how things worked out. And then they were going to determine after 1 year what they were going to do. And the family yanks a bunch more of Harry's titles, and they go, trial period over, bye. And like within days, Harry and Meghan sit down with Oprah. So I agree that a lot of this is money motivated, because Harry is very limited when it comes to skills. However, I think so much of this was just absolute revenge.
I think you can make, I totally agree with you, Kinsey. Cash and revenge, not a very nice combination. And by the way, when he went to Ukraine and gave that extraordinary interview, the chronology, the facts of that trip are extraordinary. Now, our Foreign Secretary, Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Yvette Cooper, she was off to Ukraine at the same time. So the British government, this is important, this stuff, the British government did not want Harry to go. But of course he put his foot down. And then they said, well, if you do go, your plans to meet Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, we have to stop that. You cannot do that. There are far more important things to talk about. This is a diplomatic situation that you can't intrude in. And he goes, oh, yeah, fine. And then he went there. And he sloped off and secretly saw Zelensky. The British government is furious with Harry, and he's got to grow up. He's got to grow up. He acted as if he was.
What does he have to say to Zelensky? Do they play the same video games? Like, what does he? I mean, I know that Harry has seen some action, but Harry was told what to do by an authority. Harry was not in any sort of leadership position. Everybody says he was a pilot, co-pilot. I mean, he's in there with somebody else. Harry has never been seen as a leader.
Yeah.
Harry has always been the third wheel, the spare. And so what can Prince Harry bring to the table in such a catastrophic situation?
Isn't he? He's a legend of the air, isn't he? Who didn't pass his pilot's test. So not all that much of a legend, really. But yeah, I mean, his antics in Ukraine just sum the man up. As I say, no bandwidth, no depth of understanding. Harry, this is the adult world. It's not the children's world. You've got to act more responsibly. Sloping off to see Zelensky when he wasn't supposed to is sort of jaw-dropping, really. It really should not have done that. And then, as has been pointed out, he sat down with the Guardian journalist, and if he'd succeeded to some extent in sort of polishing up his image while he was in Britain over 4 days, I mean, he could have done worse, put it that way. He spoiled it all by saying, oh yeah, my conscience is clear about that book. It had to be done. The truth had to be told. Put the stories right. In one interview, as observers have said, he undid all the halfway good work he did in 4 days in Britain. The guy is a walking liability. When he opens his mouth, he screws things up. He really, really did. And by the way, it was his birthday, right? Did you see that picture that Meghan posted on Instagram of him?
Did you ever watch the show Fraggle Rock? The
I mean, it
Muppets,
was,
it's like Muppets that live underground and they have crazy hair. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, this is not the most attractive picture of your husband you could have
But
picked.
she
Why are
thinks
you
it
so
was. She thinks it was. I think it's because he had a lot of hair then, which he certainly
yeah,
doesn't
that'll
now. But think
well,
about
you
this.
have to
What a
okay.
strange picture to post. It's 18 years old, nearly 20 years old. And, she,
They're
and what
trying to
was, and
remind us of his they're trying to remind us of his service. They are in desperation
yeah,
mode right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
But
What
I
about the
wanted to
message though, Kinsey? What about the message? Oh, hi, birthday boy. That was it.
he's a grown ass
Unbelievable.
man, Megan. He's a grown ass. We know he's stuck in, some weird place thanks to therapy and all your and you making him pancakes with fruit petals. But he's a grown ass man. I wanted to ask you that about though. You just mentioned this timeline.
Yeah.
It's not strange to you that Harry wants to make sure that everybody knows he has a private meeting with President Zelensky around the same week that we expect to see pictures of Prince William and President Trump.
Very
Trying to
much so.
compete.
Very much so. And William, uh, I would, he was very aware of Harry's presence last week, and I think I said this to you the other night.
Well,
There
who's
was
not
some,
aware of the giant cockroach
but
in the room?
the fact that Harry did see his dad, and yet at one point was within 7 miles of William, but didn't see William. That was a picture that painted 1,000 stories. William, apparently, the stories today, William has never been more furious with his brother. Last week's antics made him even more furious. Now, think of what he did. Think of what he only finished when he went to Ukraine. 4 days in Britain. That was like a royal tour, a pretend royal tour. That is in direct defiance of what the Queen wanted. She said, okay, you want to go and live in California, make your own way, make your own living, fine. But you cannot be a semi-royal. You can't come back here and do tours. You can't do royal functions. It's one or the other. He is defying Her late Great Majesty by doing this again. He's staging pretend royal tours. Of course, the gruesome twosome have already had their pretend royal tours in Nigeria and Colombia, and now Harry's done it in London and Ukraine, exactly contrary to exactly what the Queen wanted. And I think we should remember that.
Well, I don't want to cover this extensively because I don't want to create additional problems. But it is my understanding that there are certain people in the King's household that aren't very respectful to Prince William. And the entire meeting to me is a slap in the face to Prince William. And I will always side with Prince William.
Me too.
You know,
So do the
I've
British
always
people. We all side with Prince William, trust me. We really do.
right. So I was really turned off by this meeting because I felt like it in a time that I feel is already difficult for the family. And I do, if Prince William wants to spend time with his wife and kids, not knowing when he might just wake up and become king one day, like his life can change overnight. That's the reality he's living in right now. Then
Yeah,
I want him to spend that time with his wife and kids. I'm sorry. Like I
yeah.
don't think he needs to be at every, cutting ribbons left and right all over the world. I don't. And it's my understanding that there are some people within the palace that don't think he does enough. You know what? Last year, every night he went to sleep begging to the universe that they not take his wife from him.
Yeah,
So if he
good
wants to
point.
just enjoy the company of his family, then I fully support that and I want people to lay off. And so I was incredibly disappointed by the king's decision to privately meet with Harry with Queen Camilla because I felt like it was an endorsement of what Harry was doing and gave, especially in the States, it gave the appearance that Prince Harry's back. No, he's not. 3 weeks ago, he was still the stoner surfing in Montecito, California. Okay. He goes to a children's surf camp. It's not, Prince Harry is not back. And Prince Harry was a figment of our imagination, basically, that the palace created this brand of like hot, sexy bachelor, the world's, most eligible bachelor, is a brand that the palace created because they were desperate to hide what a troublemaker he was. Nazi uniform, consuming drugs. Um, he was a burden for quite some time, and it took a lot of efforts to make him look like a decent human being.
Yeah.
And it's like they're desperately trying to recreate this thing that I don't think existed to begin with.
I agree, and don't forget with Harry, what happens in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas. We all know what he got up to there. Yeah, he's always been a problem. He is a troublesome son. And to go back to your point about William, you can draw your own conclusions where this spin is coming from. The story is that the king is unhappy with William because he doesn't fulfill enough royal functions. Well, I don't believe that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure the number of functions that William attends, but he is a very, very constant, palpable presence,
Visible,
with his charity work, Earthshot and all that. William is in the papers every day. That's what it's all about. And I don't believe that Charles thinks he's work shy. So when you see these stories appearing in the paper, just at the moment when Harry's trying to tell everybody, love me again, will you please, draw your own conclusions where you think they might be coming from. That's my take on that. I just don't believe that the king goes round going, William isn't doing enough royal functions. I just don't believe it. It's one of those spin stories to make William look bad. But as you said, and as I say, and the British people always say, we back William. We like William and we like Camilla for saying, Harry, after what you've done, after what you've said about us and what you've said about this nation, to hell with you. To hell with you and to hell with your wife. That's what they say, and the British people are with them all the way.
Well, to hell with your wife. What a way to end the show. Agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kevin O'Sullivan, I will see you later this week on Talk.